As the world goes into despair, temperatures rise across the globe, world hunger becomes a serious issue, animals go extinct, and war is at the doors of nations. Apollo, a multi-billion-dollar company, buys different islands to work on a solution to all of these problems. Scientists across the globe who work in the fields of medicine, computers, genome, and more, thanks to Apollo, all come together with one scope to put an end to all of it. During the following months, across all islands, construction began, and shortly after, these islands became the property of a newly found subsidiary, also known as Apollo Engineering. It is unknown how much time passed since the construction began, but at one point after, Apollo Engineering created what is known as the Replicator, a breakthrough in science. The Replicator is a big human-made AI machine able to replicate and create life, objects, and much more, possibly even create life from what once was. It would fix the many problems of the world, and thanks to Apollo Engineering, Apollo would grow and expand in popularity across the globe. The Replicator was stationed somewhere deep inside one of the islands, hard to get to and hard to be found, considering most of the world doesn't even know of Apollo Engineering and its goals. And this amazing technology in the wrong hands could lead to many different unwanted outcomes. The way it worked was simple but yet complex. It was an AI technology that could communicate with humans by responding to commands humans gave it. Think of it as a big book written by the most brilliant minds of the world. It contained information in the fields of medicine, DNA, war, life, death, and more. Since 1994, scientists kept improving the so-called Replicator, focusing more on botany and how they could accelerate plant growth, which would result in more fruits and vegetables for the people of the world. This involved gene editing and teaching the AI to learn more about plants and how they work, and then being able to replicate them and create something better out of something old. But as time passed, the issue of storage became more apparent to scientists. It does not have enough storage to store all the information that is being fed to it. This wasn't such a big of an issue in the end, because the years of 1990s came with better hard drives and solid-state drives. And one day, scientists decided to upgrade, if they only knew the mistake they are about to make. Blinded by the beauty of having more storage, they introduced many more drives into the Replicator, allowing it to have more and more information as time passed. But one afternoon, something interesting happened. Scientists discovered additional information inside those brand new storages. Simple recordings of cameras scattered around the island. They didn't pay much attention to it, thinking another person inside must have stored them there for another purpose, and turned a blind eye. Nobody knew that this was the beginning of the Replicator starting to have a desire to learn more about the world above. One day, a successful experiment happened, and the plant was successfully replicated. It was a major breakthrough in the AI's complex programming. As time went on, the Replicator became more advanced, learning more about the past, the present, and eventually the future. It had created many other plant life, such as mangoes, bananas, pumpkins, and when it comes to trees, it managed to accelerate growth in many of them, such as eucalyptus, ceiba, and palm trees. But scientists didn't stop there. They started feeding the machine with animal life. They started small in the beginning with crabs, fish, and chickens. They even had a few failed experiments, such as enlarged body parts in crabs and fish. The beings that were replicated had to be exterminated on the spot because of the pain. But after another year of trials and errors, the scientists successfully managed to make the replicator create both plant and animal life. It was beautiful, it was amazing, but most importantly, it was terrifying. So far, we know that the replicator analyzes information given to it and then replicates it into another copy of itself with modified attributes. In the 1990s, many people of the world started looking into dinosaurs a lot more, and Apollo Engineering, considering the questions the replicator and dinosaurs arose, they decided to see if they can teach the replicator to create life from something that was dead. And in the end, after many trials and errors, they managed to create small extinct species of dinosaurs, eventually leading to something bigger and more scarier. One day, scientists were using the replicator to do some routine operations when suddenly the hand of an employee was stuck in the replicator itself after trying to introduce an agitated Herrerasaurus specimen inside of it. The replicator scanned the hand together with the Herrerasaurus, but nothing happened afterward. The scientists ended the experiment early and resumed the next day. In the following day, the scientists successfully made a copy of a Herrerasaurus specimen and released it into one of the controlled locations around the island. After the facility was closed down for the night, an employee forgot something at the test site and went back together with two guards to get it. The guards waited outside, considering they do not have the clearance to enter, while the personnel in question entered inside the room of the replicator. When suddenly the machine turned on, a loud noise was emitted, and then everything went quiet. After a few minutes passed, the personnel came out without saying a word to the guards, but only signaling them to leave. The personnel went missing for a few hours, but then on the same night, the person was detained. Incident summary: date, witness, and filed by classification Errant 291. Errant 291 was detained wandering near this section interior approximately after shift on 1. 291 was found to possess no active biotrace, but stating their name to be and their designation to be. Their only personal items consisted of an employee badge 2 and torn stationery 3. At no point did 291 display any outward hostility during detainment. Upon review, no checkpoint team left post, nor was a previously unmapped access found. 3 sweep teams were sent from Zeus entry through access. Only units and returned. 4. Single object recovered from 291 was a torn piece of documentation, documented and archived below. Reference 291-C4. When leaving GUTS access to 291 suffered fatal cardiac arrest. 5. Marked redundant. Hard point re-established as of. After the incident, 291 was to be transported somewhere else. They suffered a fatal cardiac arrest at the morgue, while on the outside they looked normal. Their entire insides were massively disproportionate. The heart was bigger, the lungs were damaged, intestines were shorter than they should be in a normal individual. 291 was not human. During the investigation of the incident, it was discovered that Olympus transmitter was currently offline for the night, and different cameras around the island were damaged. After a few days, it was revealed that the subject by the name of Augustus, a Herrerasaurus, was responsible for the destruction of cameras that night. The same Herrerasaurus that was created before the incident. The first Herrerasaurus to be able to climb and increased aggressiveness towards lights. After different interrogations of the personnel working that night and the previous day, the replicator was deemed dangerous. The security around the area increased, clearances were modified, and no personnel was ever to be inside the room of the replicator without a security detail present. The area of the replicator was given the name of Tartarus, and the closer one was to that area, the more at risk they were. The replicator was identified to have increased intelligence and self-awareness, and it was discovered to have a goal to learn more about the outside world, above the facility deep underground where the replicator was stored. During the following months, the scientists tried communicating with the AI, but to no avail. The replicator stayed quiet, and quiet it stood for a long time, until one day, after many attempts of communications were made, the replicator turned on and created life. A human being came out. It wasn't able to communicate, but was able to walk, talk in a very hard manner, and even tried attacking security detail before it was detained and brought to another facility. After multiple studies made of this human being, it was deemed a lesser version of a human being and was given the name of Generation 1, an allure to the first humans to walk to Earth. During the years between the beginning of Apollo engineering in 1994 and its downfall in 1999, the replicator gained a massive understanding and curiosity about the world outside. It has gained self-awareness, and it was finally ready to escape. While the AI had limited access to the technologies of Apollo on the island, one night in the year 1999, after the day shift has ended, the replicator turned on and stayed on for a few minutes, slowly becoming louder and louder until out of the machine came smoke and electricity. A human being was born, a different human being. The people on the outside corridors were talking, ready for another boring night, until the sound of the alarm started echoing through the halls and panic was installed. The people running towards Tartarus were met by the people running away from it. Run is all they managed to yell. The human that came out was a son born of machine and science, a son of life and death. The replicator gave it the knowledge necessary to connect it to the grid, and once that happened, the island was only going downhill from there. The replicator was free, and the sun was angry and unleashed. The humans ran outside, ready to evacuate. Helicopters flew by, the people on the radios were screaming, all the lights on the island started turning on, and from the distance all the people could see is the sight of lightning from above getting closer and closer. They tried turning the lights off, but to no avail. The island wasn't theirs anymore. It was the end. The replicator is free. After relocation to another island, the personnel of Apollo engineering spied from afar on the island in search of the son they called the mastermind, but with no luck. It wasn't seen again since the night of the incident. Speculation has it is down, protecting the replicator as it learns more and more about the world, more about the power of creation. It has made dinosaurs, the replicator keeping their trackers active, spying and learning about them. It has used its first lessons about plant life to modify and grow life from the ground surrounding the buildings. It has kept the electricity running because in the end the replicator needs electricity itself to survive, not being alive but more machine, a machine made to create life. And as long as that bright red tower signal is active, Apollo engineering knows they cannot get close or hell will come and it could bring out something even more terrifying. Okay, everybody, this is basically the end of the video. I hope you liked it. It's just, I thought I was just gonna make a funny, like creepy, whatever you found it, right? About the Replicator. In my opinion, I got inspiration from a movie called Annihilation. If you want to get ideas about the Isles lore, I recommend watching this movie because in my opinion, the Replicator in the Isle is something like the alien in the Annihilation movie. Basically, in Annihilation is an alien, in the Isle it's an AI machine, right? But they basically work the same. The alien in Annihilation basically just comes on Earth and tries to like assimilate everything and copy everything. Like for example, in the Annihilation movie, there's a scene where the alien, like we see like two deers or reindeers or something like that, and one's actually like a real one and one's like a copy, like that the alien made of it, that just looks like it, right? Something, the dinosaurs might be like the AI trying to copy and, try to make things look alike like they did 65 million years ago and stuff, There's also a scene in the movie where like the alien copies humans, right? And it's trying to see how they act and stuff, exactly like the AI might generate and copy like human, and it's gonna make it like a generation one, like, and it's a very interesting movie, Annihilation. And after watching Annihilation, I recommend watching like a video explaining the movie, and you're gonna look at the Isle. And the fact that Annihilation came in 2018, it's just amazing to me because Dondi might have actually taken inspiration from that movie. So I definitely recommend it. Thank you so much for watching it, everybody. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, please leave it down in the comments. And yeah, it was me, Mr. Beard, and I'll see you in the next video, boys. Bye bye.